So general notes for all of you. So you need to be clear who it is, your age, how old you are, what you are, a priest, a brother or whatever. So get all that fixed in your head before you come on, and then when you're on, you're ready to perform. And everything stays the same. Really looking forward to seeing your showcase this afternoon. Today, all day.
watch the waves for a bit. Hello. Come in. How are you? Good.
When you found out that they were deaf, what was your biggest fear?
I didn't know anything about deafness, and first I was horrified when I first saw signing. And the voices are horrible, and the signing, the faces struck. My goodness, is that what my daughters are going to be like? But I grew to love that. It was much later I learnt sign. I was very bad. I should have learnt before, but... Yeah. We were in the 20s. I learnt sign after Daddy died. I wish I had. Yes. That's right, that's right. And of course, did my best. Write things down, show her. But she said the biggest problem was we'd be talking with my other daughter, my husband, and they didn't know what we were saying. They couldn't lip read so quickly or hear anything. Paula was always her father's favourite because she was always there to help him. He couldn't see, and she was there. She was always there helping. She knew instinctively what he needed, how he needed help. And there was a time when she stayed home just to look after him, so I could go to work still.
I feel my better health was really bad.
You didn't know that?
He had an eating disorder.
But the doctor never started. I was glad for him. But don't have left, but I love him, love guilty.
Nothing.
Guilty, but I love home, love Buddha.
I must admire you. You worked so hard to get back to eating. I remember you told me you never felt hungry and you just made yourself eat.
Were you surprised that you decided to go into acting?
The careers officer at Brent, they said, Paula's good carer, maybe give her to a care course. So she did a care course. When you finished, I phoned up Brent. It was a job. He wanted me to phone. I said, my daughter would like that job, but she's deaf, so she can't speak to you on the phone. If she's deaf, she's no good to us at all.
How did you feel?
I felt it was ridiculous. I was so angry. But then Jewish Care said, well, we can take her. And they said, we will use her. So she went to a care home and worked there. It wasn't far. She went on the bus and she earned a little money.
Do you think she enjoyed that kind of work?
She hated it because nobody would take her advice. They would sit down and discuss a patient. They didn't want to hear from Paula. There was no respect, nothing, no appreciation, anything, no encouragement to her to go on and make it a career. So she was very down. Then she heard about the deaf course for actresses at Reading. And at the end of the year, I went to see her theatre and I was thrown over. First time I've really seen Paula act, and she backed a blind deaf woman, and I was thrown away. I thought, this is not my Paula, this is somebody really good at her work. And the first, as she left that day, somebody took her and said, I'll give you an equity card. And I want her to be in my next show, which was Beauty and the Beast. And which do you think my beautiful daughter would have? The beauty, of course.
How do you mean that her confident day?
Well, she just be able to hold her own. She was respected. People admired her. Made a difference to Paula. Big, big difference.
table. Rubbish. Puella, bitte. Bitte.
If you have watched this program and it has affected you, there is support information online at bslzone.co.uk/support.